Good evening and welcome to the Wednesday Night Word. It is an amazing time in our lives and in human history to go deeper into the Word. And so I'm excited to be here tonight. I'm excited about what we're going to do tonight. I went back and read something that is one of my favorite books, and I'm hoping that you enjoy it as well. So come on in. It is storming outside, which brings me to what I want to pray with and for you about tonight, as I had to make my way through these torrential rains and deep storms. We got to a place where the traffic came to a standstill because a tree had fallen into the road. Now, the interesting thing was, I was a bit annoyed that when I left, I got delayed by about 5 minutes. And once I got to this place where the tree had fallen into the road, it made me think that if I had been 5 minutes earlier, would that tree have fallen on my car? And so God blessed me with the delay. And oftentimes I think we miss that there are times when God blesses you by slowing you down. Anybody ever think about all the things God denied you and how God made you better? You ever think about some of the people God sent out of your life and how that was a blessing? It hurt at the time. But if you look back and you see what's going on now, what seemed difficult and painful and rejection was actually God's way of elevating you. So as I come to you tonight, I want to suggest to you that one of the great gifts of continuing to live is the opportunity to reassess, to reframe, to rethink, to internalize it differently. That the more mature you get, the more you recognize that in your youth, it felt like disaster. In your youth, it looked like rejection. In your youth, it felt like you'd been wronged. But if you just keep on living and your faith can reframe, you'll see God's hand on every situation, on every open door and every closed door. And so my prayer is that you all trust God in the middle of it and know that God is doing something for you that's for your good, even though in the middle of it, it doesn't feel good. So, beloved, do me a favor and do some virtual evangelism now. If you're on Facebook, hit the share button. If you're on YouTube, copy the link and send it to somebody. Let's get ready to go and jump into what we're studying tonight. I'm going to invite you to put in any of your prayer requests. Our online ministry is there to receive them. Let's go to God in prayer. God, I thank you and honor you for your grace and your mercy and your loving kindness. I seek you, Lord, for who you are, not just what you do. I give you glory and honor because in every way you are transformative. I thank you, now and forever. Amen. All right, y'all, let's hop into it. I'm just going to put you back on where we left last week briefly. Let's go ahead and put that first slide up. And next slide. Next slide. Yeah. This is where we left off last time. And I wanted just to stop here before I go in the next direction, because the next direction I think is going to be a challenge. It was a challenge for me this week, and particularly today, as I was drilling down on it to prepare for tonight. It says that evening at sunset, they brought him all who were sick or possessed by demons, and the whole city was gathered around the door. And he cured many who were sick with various diseases and cast out many demons. And he would not permit the demons to speak because they knew him, right? We did this last week. In the morning, while it was still dark, he got up and went out to a deserted place, and there he prayed. And Simon, with his companions, hunted for him. When they found him, they said, "Everyone is searching for you." He answered, "Let us go to neighboring towns so that I may proclaim the message there also, for that is what I came to do." And he went throughout all Galilee, proclaiming the message in their synagogues and casting out demons. Here's the thing I wanted to take you back to for a second, and that's verse 37. When they found him, they said to him, "Everyone is searching for you." I was just thinking that there are times when the life of devotion, a devotion that is aimed at God, gets derailed, gets sidetracked, gets put asunder because you're trying to be found by everyone. Can you come back to me for a second? Because we prayed for caretakers last week, and we prayed for those who are in the middle of trying to be a lot of things for a lot of different people. Our personhood is what it is because we are in community. If you're my age, you have a generation above you that you're beginning to take care of. And there's a generation behind you that you're still taking care of. We haven't even gotten to all the people in your inner circle right now. A job, maybe a spouse. I'm not sure how many people are searching for you. And this notion of being searched for at times can engage your search for God in a way that if you don't keep your priorities straight, you will always submit to the needs, the desires, the wants of others and hurt your own search. You must always keep looking for God. And that's hard because your schedule gets busy. Your time is truncated. You got school, you got kids, you got all these things. But my first hashtag for you tonight, keep searching. 2 words made one. I just need somebody to hashtag that who knows every now and then you get lost, that you struggle to get grounded. Hashtag keep searching. That trying to be everything for everybody at all times is the best way to die slowly. That the thing that will keep you in the right vibration, the thing that will keep you focused, is you have to decide that your search is the only thing that will make you worthy to be in relationship with other people. When you stop searching and building your relationship with God, you can't be what you need to be for the people you're taking care of. You can't be what you need to be for your job. You can't be what you need to be for your family. When you stop searching for God, when you stop seeking God, and you're always being found by everything and everybody and every place, it is just a matter of time before you're broken down. That the key to a successful and healthy life is to always be in relationship with God. And that's what Jesus is doing. The town is seeking him. Everybody's at his house. The demons know who he is. He is curing diseases. And the Bible says he gets up early in the morning before dark and he searches. The problem with searching is it is considered selfish. And we ended last week with the notion of self-care. and how bad we are at self-care Sunday with our Mental Health Sunday. And it's important for you to understand that if you don't take care of the vessel God gave you, you are committing sin. Self-care is not the same as selfishness. Self-care prepares you to be the best you can for everyone else. And so I wanted to start today by encouraging somebody who is feeling down, depressed, lost. Maybe you're just wandering. Maybe you're trying to figure out, why aren't I on the top of my game? I need you to keep searching for God. I need you to stop and take some time away and say, Lord, I need you to fill my cup. Give me direction. Hear my cry. Minister to my wounds. Allow me just to take a nap. You got to search for God daily in order for God to give you the skill set, the energy, and the need to move forward in what you're trying to accomplish. I just wanted to stop there because it's important for you all, and it's important for us as a people, that in these hard social times where we're looking for someone to lead and save, that we have to turn to a God who is always there. Let's go back. Let's look, because I want to get into what we're going to. Next slide. And this is where we left in our reading last week. This is Howard Thurman, The Inward Journey. And it says, it is good to remember that God has not left himself without a witness in our spirits. There is a spirit, capital S, the Holy Spirit, in us that contains our spirit, small s, that provides the secondary consolations which float the big anxieties, that sustains the effort beyond the calculated endurance, that makes the case for the good impulse when the rational judgment sends the mind spinning in the opposite direction, that brooks all our weariness and all despair until change comes and the heart is revived, that holds the confidence in the integrity of self when the deeds that contradict will not be stilled and the act that destroys goes on its relentless way. It is good to remember that God has not left himself without a witness in our spirits. I thought that was really important, because whatever you're going through, wherever you are, whatever is happening, God has not left you alone. God has not abandoned you. God has left a spirit, the spirit that's covering your spirit. Next slide. So now we're going to the book of Daniel. Daniel chapter 6. And I wanted to go to the book of Daniel because I want to deal with how do you stay devoted in difficult times. How do you stay devoted in difficult times? So the administrators and satraps conspired and came to the king and said to him, O King Darius, live forever. All the administrators of the kingdom, the prefects and the satraps, the counselors and all the governors are agreed that the king should establish an ordinance and enforce an interdict, that whoever prays to any god or human for 30 days, except to you, O king, shall be thrown into the den of lions. Now, O king, establish the interdict and sign the document so that it cannot be changed. That's important. So that it cannot be changed according to the law of Medes and the Parisians, which cannot be revoked. Therefore, King Darius signed the document and the interdict. So the background here is Daniel has shown himself to be proficient. Daniel has shown himself to be able to do what no one else can do. Daniel has found favor, and Daniel is not a native. Next slide. Here is where it's going to get tricky. although Daniel knew that the document had been signed, he continued to go to his house, which had windows in the upper room, open towards Jerusalem, and to get down on his knees 3 times a day to pray to his God and praise him, just as he had done previously. Those men who watched and found Daniel praying and seeking mercy before his God, they approached the king and said concerning the interdict, "O king, did you not sign an interdict that anyone who prays to any god or human within 30 days except you, O king, shall be thrown into the den of lions?" The king answered, "The thing stands fast according to the law of Medes and the Parisians, which cannot be revoked." They then responded to the king, "Daniel, one of the exiles from Judah, pays no attention to you, O king, or to the interdict that you signed, but he is saying his prayers 3 times a day." Now, let's go back up to the top. Daniel knew the document had been signed, yet he continued to go to his house, had windows in the upper room, looked out towards everybody, and got down on his knees 3 times a day and prayed to God and praised him, just as he had done previously. Okay, come back for a second, because I want you to recognize something really important about devotion. Devotion is a habit. Devotion is consistency. And devotion is loyalty. And in a world where loyalty is not valued as much as it used to be, in a world where trust is not always what you think it is, where you can't rely on people who you thought you could rely on, that there's no stability in our world, how is it that you can live a life of devotion when you're unsure of the things that are around you? Well, the first thing Daniel teaches us is devotion is about your consistency. It's about habits. It's about doing what you got to do when you do it, no matter what gets in your way. And that is the problem that many of us have. Many of us struggle with being consistent. We start a project, we get halfway through, we get distracted. Tell me 2 things in your life that no matter what, you get it done. You never missed your favorite TV show. There's certain things that we can do no matter what. I'm amazed at people who can get to work on time but get to church 20 minutes late every Sunday, like clockwork. Devotion and what you're devoted to says something about what your priorities are, what you find important, what you are willing to connect yourself with no matter what. And many of us would be amazed if we did a time journal. And I challenged you to do that a couple of weeks ago. A time journal is just take for a week and chronicle what you do all day, every day. How long you do it, where you do it. Just chronicle how you spend your time, where you spend your time, how much time you're on your phone, how much time you're on Facebook or Instagram or TikTok. Just chronicle where you spend your time. And where you spend your time will speak to what you honor. It will speak to what your devotion is. It will say what you value. Now, I want to suggest, I don't want y'all to get mad at me because I'm not coming for you. I want to suggest that some of you may have a lot of mini gods because you spend more time with your mini gods than you do your real God. That where you spend your time and what you spend your time doing may add up to much more time than you spend in prayer and devotion. 3 times a day, that dude got down and prayed. Now, the thing is, he knew that the prayer was going to get him in trouble. But not only did he not care about that, but he did it in an open window. He did not hide what he was doing. He was willing to pay the consequence for doing it. That's what devotion looks like. And as you get older, and as you establish more relationships, and as you get more entrenched in communities, things are going to fight for your devotion. And you got to be careful. Because if you're not careful, you will create false gods and not even know it. I tell couples all the time who have children, don't neglect the thing that made that child by putting that child ahead of everything else. Don't be so much of a mother that you're no longer a wife. And don't be so much of a father that you're no longer a husband. Because what you will discover is that that child will be elevated to the point where you neglect each other, and the thing that makes a stable environment for that child gets destroyed. We create many gods. And I want somebody who has been guilty of giving all your time, attention, and focus and emotion to something that at some point outgrew you, abandoned you, disappointed you. If you've ever found yourself in a situation where you got so caught up in a person, place, or thing that it consumed all your energy, and all of a sudden you found yourself fatigued and resentful, if you've ever had that experience, your hashtag is mini God. Only the honest people. Because if I'm honest, I found myself in a place where I made church a mini God. Where I was so focused on church that I forgot what the church points to. That all of us, well-meaning, get so caught up every now and then that we lose ourselves and we lose the original reason why we got into something by creating mini gods. That we build lifestyles that are so hard to maintain. I mean, we got the mortgage, the car note, the private schools. Now we find ourselves doing nothing but working, and we can't even enjoy the family that we're working for. Mini gods. We're building businesses and making money, and we're never home. Mini gods. Or when you get home, you're so tired, please don't touch me. Let's not talk for the next hour. I need to unwind. Many gods. And before you know it, you have given so much of your priority to everything else that the God who granted and sustains is no longer a focus in your life. Daniel was like, nah. Not only am I going to continue to pray, but I'm going to continue to do it where I always did it. Because even though I'm in exile, God has been too good to me. And when we find ourselves now in this current situation where structures are being designed and maps are being redrawn, and now the Department of Justice wants to give $1.4 billion to insurrectionists, and yet this nation can't figure out how to do reparations to former slaves, you are tempted to create many gods of anger and resentment. But I'm here to tell you, don't allow your environment to change your worship. Don't allow who thinks they're in control to change your worship. Don't allow culture and society to change your worship. Daniel knew he made a conscious, devoted choice. I am going to give God God's glory no matter what. Go ahead and put it back up for a second, because I want to give you something that I think is important. The people have set up a trap because they knew who Daniel was. And sometimes people will try to use your commitments against you. Sometimes people will see exactly who you are and then try to use that against you. But if it's a gift from God, it cannot be used to change you. Next slide. So I picked up one of my favorite books today because something was bothering me about this, something that I couldn't wrap my head around. So I decided to go back to one of the favorite quotes, one of my favorite books, and I'll show it to you in a moment. It's a book by Peter Bhakti. And this is what he says. He says, in this way then, love which is interested only in security turns out to be insecurity. And insecurity without creativity. We simply cannot take insecurity out of our life by putting the emphasis on being loved. For being loved does not call into play our whole natures and leaves us with a devastating sense of helplessness. Once our whole nature is taken into account, we realize that if each of us is to grow, if each of us is to develop, there must be insecurity in our lives. There must be insecurity in our lives. What we eventually learn from experience is that the demand for security at the expense of one's own activity and growth does not take us very far in solving the everyday problems of life. To be a person is to need growth, and to grow is to break with the past without knowing exactly what the future will bring. I need you to see this, and I need you to grasp it. I'll read certain parts one more time because I think they're very important. Love which is interested only in security, in feeling safe, in feeling protected, in knowing what's going to happen. He says that type of love turns out to be insecurity, and insecurity without creativity. He says being loved and the need to be loved leads you to a sense of helplessness. Come back to me for a second because I want to show you the book, and you can see how tattered the book is. You can see how I pick it up quite often. The book is called Religion as Creative Insecurity. And the reason I think it's so important is he makes the argument that all of the Christian faith in God is steeped in a sort of personal insecurity, that Jesus and all the prophets who live what God wants them to live risk safety and comfort and knowing that they step out into a world in which they are unsure what is going to happen. They just know that they have to respond to this call, that they are unable to stay still when that spirit grapples them, that they must be engaged in something that sometimes is frightening and beyond all that they understand, that sometimes they find themselves at odds with the world. And God is always calling us to do something that doesn't make sense to everybody else and even ourselves. And I came by to tell you that if your desire is to always know what's going to happen, when it's going to happen, where it's going to happen, who it's going to happen with, you are already dying. That his argument is real faith is steeped in an ability to survive with insecurity, not knowing when, not knowing where, not knowing why, but knowing who. This doesn't mean that you just throw yourself out there and leap in the wind. No, that's not what it is. It means that you and God have created a particular relationship in which you hear a voice that is real, grounded in fact, steeped in reality, verifiable in every way, and that you walk in that will, knowing that if God brought you to it, God has a purpose in it. That sometimes we stay stuck in the need to control, that we don't recognize that we're not really controlling anyway. That the insistence that everybody like us and everybody approve and everybody be happy. And today, I was thinking in my own life, I had a beautiful conversation with my therapist yesterday. I needed my therapist. I called and we had a conversation. And he convinced me that one of the things in my life that is problematic is my need to make everyone around me understand me, to approve of what I'm doing. And that is at odds with what I do for a living. That sometimes my need to make everybody happy comes at the loss of my own sense of love. That I have to abandon my own sense of satisfaction and security in order to make everyone else feel secure and satisfied. That at the heart of codependence is a need to control everyone else's life in order to escape having to control yours, to take responsibility for your wants, your needs, your feelings. That creative insecurity, according to Peter here, creative insecurity is that there are moments in which God will place you in a situation where your imagination, where your creativity, where you work this thing out however you can, helps you discover something about yourself that you did not know previously, and you never get to that point when everything is always in the perfect place, in the perfect way, when somebody's always fixing your stuff, or when you're always fixing everybody else's stuff. Don't you know that people have a way of working things out after you dead and gone that they thought they couldn't work out while you were still there? Anybody ever experience nobody can get it done? It can't happen unless you're there. And all of a sudden, when you're not there, somehow it got done? Creative insecurity for him is a sense in which God will put you in some situations to expose you to you. That sometimes the problems in life are not to break you, but to discover you. To show you how dynamic and creative you are. That you can't do that when you are demanding that it look right, act right, smell right, taste right from the beginning, and that you've got to be in charge of it from the beginning. That some of the most creative points in your life are points in which you have no idea what's going to happen, that the future is not predictable. That God will take you places and turn corners with you, and you never expected to be there, but you discovered vast things about yourself. Have you ever found you in the midst of a problem? Have you ever discovered something about you that you kind of like after you got through something? Did you realize that you are stronger than you thought you were because that could have killed you, but you stayed upright? That creative insecurity shows you there's more to me. And that's the hashtag that I want somebody to put there. If you've ever had to go through something, if you've ever had to struggle with something, and you came out on the other end realizing, hashtag there's more to me. That's God's gift. God's gift is showing you there's more to you. That problem was there to break you open to you, to help you understand you're not weak, you're not a flower, that you are stronger than other people understood, that you're kind of bright, that when you got put in that situation and you figured out how with God to walk through that situation. Yeah, you had a child at 19, but you raised a doctor and you went to college and you put yourself to school. Yeah, they told you stage 2, but you went through the chemo. You sat over that toilet. You lost a little hair, but you still here. Some stuff that would have killed other people, you made your way through. You cried late some nights, but you still here because you discovered there's more to you. And when you recognize that creativity and insecurity go hand in hand, not that your personality is so weak and somber that it can't handle challenges, that God will show you some things about yourself. And this is the difficulty with letting go of children. This is the difficulty of parenting and getting to that point where you got to say, well, you're grown now. If that's what you want to do, I love you. But every now and then I got to love you enough to let you fall. That the need, the utter desire to be loved and approved by other people is one of the most destructive things in your life. That when you can become okay not being liked, when you can do what's right for you and your community and your family, that's freedom. I'm not sure of what's going to happen. I'm not sure how everything's going to work out. All I can do is trust God. Every year, we pass a budget at First Baptist. I think to myself, what in the world? Our church has a budget in the millions of dollars. Gas prices are going up. Food is going up. Everything is more expensive. More expensive than when we passed this budget. Now, I don't know what's going to happen by the end of the year. All I can do is trust God. And in this situation, continue to do the best, most innovative ministry we can do. To continue to feed hungry people. We still did fish for as many people as we could. We still trying to do the roof. We still, because there's freedom in not fearing failure. And what I want everyone that's here tonight to do, I want you to be okay with the possibility of failing. Don't let the possibility of failing stop you from trying. I just need somebody who's in the middle of something that you don't quite understand. You're not quite sure how you're going to make it. You're not quite clear of everything you need. I just need you to hashtag trust anyway. You want to go back to school? Trust anyway. You want to start a business? Trust anyway. You're determined to lose 10 pounds? Trust anyway. You want to reimagine something in your life? Trust anyway. Failure is not the problem. Staying stuck in it is the problem. Not learning from it is the problem. You've got to trust that if God is for you, then the necessary resources will be there. I am trusting God every day with this price. I know the economy is horrible. I'm still not going to sell y'all prayer cloths. I'm still not going to sell you blessed oil. I'm not going to do any of that. I'm still going to trust that if we do what we're supposed to do, that the Bible is real, that God will open up a window and pour us out a blessing. I still believe that if we continue to feed senior citizens in this region, I still believe if we continue to take care of our youth and young adults, I still believe that if we continue to provide you with the best Christian education, God will handle the rest. And that in the middle of this, God is calling me and the staff to be creative in how we continue to function and manage, but we just got to trust anyway. While yet at the same time fighting for the freedom of black and brown people. Taking the risk of being a prophetic voice. We just got to trust anyway. And whether it's going through your treatment or whether it's going through marital counseling, whatever it is, I'm here to tell you, don't give up on God because God has not given up on you. But put it up for me for a second because there is a problem with what I'm telling you right now, and I realize it. If we look at the scripture, let's go back to it for a second. I'm willing to concede there's a problem. And the problem is, next slide. This, Matthew 10. Because this, I think, sets us up for a reality check that I'm not sure we're all ready for. It's easy for me to tell you to trust anyway. It's easy for me to tell you, do what God has for you to do, as long as you are clear that it's God telling you and not your own mind. So in Matthew 10, Jesus is telling the disciples everything they need to know about what they get ready to get into. He gives them a warning. Jesus just doesn't say to the disciples, come on, y'all, let's do our thing. He's like, look, let me tell you, you get ready to get into something and you need to know all the risk of what you're getting ready to get into. Matthew 10:26 says, these are the words from Jesus to his boys. So have no fear of them, for nothing is covered up that will not be uncovered, and nothing secret that will not become known. What I say to you in the dark, tell in the light. And what you hear whispered, proclaim from the rooftops. Do not fear those who kill the body, but cannot kill the soul. Rather, fear the one who can destroy both soul and body in hell. Woof. These are the words of Jesus to those he is called to be disciples. Are not 2 sparrows sold for a penny? Yet not one of them will fall to the ground apart from your Father. And even the hairs of your head are counted. So do not be afraid. You are more valued than many sparrows. Okay, so this to me, I think, is the difficulty in everything we are summing up around devotion. Commitment is the interplay between life and death. Jesus is demanding of these disciples, and therefore us as disciples, that we be willing to risk it all for him. Now, but here's what I love. Listen to what he says. I ain't got nothing to hide. If I tell it to you in the dark, it will become known. If I whispered it, I want you to tell everybody. Do not fear those who kill the body, but cannot kill the soul. This is deep stuff. It is stuff that's calling us to decide each and every decision between the very existence and what we think of as death. And here's what Jesus is doing. Jesus is redefining what death is. Jesus is trying to say death of the body is not real death, because true life is freedom outside the body. Come back to me for a second, because I'll explain to you why this is a hard concept. Because in the West, everything is designed to extend physical life. And not only to extend physical life, but to extend the pleasure principle involved in that physical life. So, whether it is performance drugs, the little blue pill, or the weight loss shots, everything is designed for us to live as long, do as much as we want, have it. Nothing tells us that all of this is fleeting. That at the end of the day, none of this will matter. That everything you accumulate, one day, your children are going to sell anyway. That what is of real importance, what is of real value, is being in optimal relationship with God and each other. And yet, so much of our lives are spent trying to exist, but we are existing without joy. I mean, think about it. How many of your days are spent in stress, and struggle, and unhappiness, and grief, and anger, and resentment? I'm here to tell you, nobody, and I believe this with all my heart, nobody who works for Donald Trump is a happy human being. Nobody. Allegedly, the Secretary of Defense is a raging alcoholic. So if the FBI director, allegedly, a raging alcoholic. Kristi Noem was so anti-gay, and yet her husband was cross-dressing with balloons at home. Nobody who works for this man is happy. You can't hate a whole group of people, dedicate your time to their destruction, trying to get them not to vote, and be happy. All that toxic, negative energy, they are walking dead. See, we think death is simply about the body. What Jesus is saying is that some of you all are dead even though you're breathing. Do not be afraid of the one who can only kill the body, but be afraid of the one who can kill the soul and the body in hell. I would rather be in God, in joy, and in peace, and have a limited time than live a long, miserable life. I want some of y'all to spend your time, God, give me life, and life in abundance. That's just not about the number of years. That's about joy. That's about a belly laugh. that nobody can. That's about looking at the smile on people you love's faces. That's about making memories that nobody can take away from you. That's about having peace in storms when other people are ready to give up. That's about looking back at something and being satisfied that you put in the effort, the energy. That's about living a life in which you can say you left nothing on the table. That's about saying, I don't have any regrets. I did everything I could while I could. That's about walking in integrity so that nobody can catch you in anything. Anything I say to you in the dark, Jesus says, I want you to yell from the rooftops. I have nothing to hide. That true life is what we need to be aiming for. And no one can take your true life. So what I'm urging you all to do tonight, what I'm urging you to think about, is to reframe what it means to be alive. And to recognize that if you are living in God with true life, nobody can take that from you. Nobody can rob you of the things that really have meaning. They could take your car, but they can't take your joy. I'm urging you to rethink what it means to live in God in such a way where your abundance is not about your wealth. It's about your existence. It's about having loving community and peaceful moments. It's about waking up in the morning without regrets. If that's something that God is helping you to reframe, the more mature you get, the more you live, the more days you have, the more you decide, you know, a day's worth of quiet is worth more to me than $10. My hashtag for you tonight right now is #TrueLife. That's my prayer for you all. True life. You know, one of the things my therapist and I talked about that I found profound, I mean, it was the best conversation I'd had. He said, you know, you haven't had time to grieve some things. You just haven't had time to exist in your grief and allow it to wash over you. Because you haven't had the time to grieve some things, you don't recognize how spectacular it is that you are still here. How much God has given you when other people tried to take from you. You're so focused on the effort to take that you can't see that God has kept for you. And when he said it to me, I was like, huh. Anybody there on the other side of that there lens recognize that no matter what's going on, you still got more than you deserve? Is there anybody sitting in your living room, your bedroom, your kitchen? Just look around. You got more than you deserve. You could have lost it all. But God has been faithful. You have a place to stay and somebody who loves you. And yeah, it's been a struggle at times, but you woke up this morning with the use of limbs, in somewhat of your right mind. Anybody recognize that God has kept you even though the storms came against you? That maybe sometimes you've been so busy complaining about the storm that you missed the fact that God was an umbrella in it. That sometimes you've been so invested that they lied on you, that you missed the fact that the lie didn't take nothing from you. Hey, have you ever really just sat back and thought about all the drama and the hell that came against you, and yet you still prosper? Or are you so focused that you're not where you thought you should be? You don't have what you thought you should have. You could have had so much more. You should have been, but you could have been dead. See, what Jesus is trying to tell us is true life can't be snatched by everybody. That you can't be worried about somebody who can just take the material, the physical things. What you need to be protecting is your soul, your inner peace, your inner joy, your self-esteem, your personhood. They can take our districts, they can redraw maps, but they cannot take our communities. They can take away the voting rights, but they cannot take away the love that our families have. They can attack us through laws, but there is an inner strength that we've always had. That the more you try to oppress us, the more we bound together. See, the external stuff that they come for has no power if you got your internal stuff in place. I just need somebody to hashtag inside job, because the only way the enemy will get you is from the inside out. It's got to be an inside job. There's nothing outside of you that can destroy you. There's nothing outside of you that can break you. It's got to be an inside job. You've got to reframe what you understand is going on in the world. Recognize that the God inside of you is bigger than the enemy outside of you. And if you don't allow the inside to be broken, the outside will never really matter. And so what you got to do with this inside job is think, man, I just paid $4.95 for a gallon of gas. That's crazy. But I got enough gas to get home. Man, I just paid $12 for a small piece of steak, but I won't be hungry tonight. See, when I start to recognize that God's goodness is greater than the external stuff, can I just tell you, my mother's had a couple of procedures the last couple of weeks. Every Sunday, I've been getting in the car and driving to Washington, D.C. to take care of her. And one of the medical options the doctor gave us was, you can do it this way, but your insurance won't cover that, so you got to pay. You got to pay extra. You got to pay out of pocket if you want this. And my mother said, well, how much is it? I said, look, this is the only mother I got. I'm not really worried about how much it is. Let's do what's going to get her through it. Safe. And I got my credit card bill. And when I looked at my credit card bill, the balance wasn't what I wanted it to be. Now, 2 years ago, I would have been angry and upset and annoyed and asking, Lord, how am I going to make it? But this particular bill, something on the inside made me say, thank you, Lord, that I could take care of my mother. Something on the inside made me reevaluate what is important. I'm trying to explain to you all that your peace and your joy is not subject to the external circumstances, that devotion, real devotion, can operate within an insecurity, but recognize that insecurity is really secure. Because no matter what happens to me, no matter what's going on in my life, I have a God who said, I will never leave nor forsake, a God who said, I took you through something so much bigger, a God who says, I have always provided for your needs according to God, my riches and glory. And when I think about who that God is, and when I think about all that I've been able to do, yes, been through divorce, yes, lost some houses, yes, didn't know where my next meal was coming from. And every time God kept saying, there's another level, stay faithful. 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 And that's what I'm going to say to you all right now. There's another level, stay faithful. That's the last hashtag I got for you. Hashtag stay faithful. I need somebody, just find somebody else online here. Just type in their name and tell them stay faithful. I don't, it doesn't matter. You don't have to know the person. It could be Sister Bush, stay faithful. Sister Richard, stay faithful. Sister Gardner, stay faithful. I see Sister Barbara Jimbo, stay faithful. For no weapon formed against you shall prosper. Stay faithful. Lovely Lisa, stay faithful. Eyes have not seen, nor ears have heard. Sister Schulman, stay faithful. The Lord is your shepherd. You shall not want. Stay faithful, everybody. These are hard times. These are rough situations. The things don't seem to be going well, but if you stay faithful, whatever it is that's vexing your spirit, whatever it is that's annoying you, whatever it is, use some creative insecurity and stay faithful. Because God will prosper you in the middle of your storm if you just stay faithful and encourage each other and help each other recognize that the battle is not fully yours, it's the Lord's. There's some things you got to do, but other things God can only do. You just got to stay faithful. I don't know if I'm making sense. I just want you to know that the words of Jesus are clear and true. Don't worry about who can kill the body, who can take the external things, who can push bad buttons. Don't worry about that. But be afraid of the one who can damage the soul and kill the body in hell. That's a different threat. Some of the stuff y'all threatened by doesn't really have any power. Some of the stuff that's really trying to come against you, it really doesn't have any power. Some of the stuff you worried about really doesn't have any power, but the power is in a Satan who can get to your soul, diminish your spirit, kill your joy in hell. Stay faithful, and God will take care of the rest. I believe this Sunday is Pentecost Sunday. Is this Sunday Pentecost Sunday? Somebody tell me, is this Sunday Pentecost Sunday? If it's Pentecost Sunday, I know Robin's watching. Robin, text me. Is it Pentecost Sunday? I'm clear that I've worried about some things, and in my worry, I gave them power. And I shouldn't have. I'm going to spend the rest of this year trying to take that power back. I'm going to ask you to join me in spending the rest of this year trying to take your power back. Take it back from the things you fear. Take it back from the things you worry. Take it back from the things that have been causing you to lose sleep. Okay, so I'm going to tell you the truth. Pentecost Sunday is one of my favorite Sundays. And we have church on Pentecost Sunday. I want you to bring all of it to church with you this Sunday. We are just going to experience God and get into it this Sunday. This is the Sunday that the Spirit came and gave birth to the New Testament Spirit, to the church with power. And I just believe we got to come grab our power. And so on Pentecost Sunday, thank you, Robin, we at First Baptist make Pentecost Sunday our service of healing. Yeah, this is our service of healing, and we make this Sunday the Sunday we come to God as a community, as family, and we seek healing for diseases. We seek healing from heartbreak. We seek healing from fear. We seek healing from trauma. Ooh, I'm excited about this Sunday. We seek healing in your financial life. Whatever it is, we're going to do it this Sunday. And I'm looking forward to doing it with you, either in person and online. So I want to thank you all for hanging in there with me. I want to thank the staff for braving the rain. Pray that we all get home safe and sound tonight. I'm looking forward to what God is going to do. Any prayer request? Stay faithful. Thank you to our online ministry for the amazing work you all do. If you didn't do any virtual evangelism, if you're on Facebook, hit the share button. Tag somebody. If you're on YouTube or our website, text a link, email a link to somebody and say, check this out. Stay faithful. Let's go to God in prayer. God, I thank you for your grace, your mercy. Thank you that you never left us without a witness. Now, God, in our insecurity, be creative, that we may do amazing things, that we may not fall back, but stand firm in the presence of evil, that we regain our power. Lord, as we head towards Pentecost Sunday, towards our service of healing, we invite you, Lord, to make us better than we were before. And we give you glory and honor. Amen. All right, y'all, invite somebody to church on Sunday. Tell them you better come to First Baptist. It's our Pentecost service, and it's our service of healing. I'll see you Sunday.